Alright, here's some more Brockton Bay's Celestial Forge by Lord Rostabout. When we left, our hero was going to his gym after introducing us to his workshop. I checked in and got changed. The place was practically a time capsule, but it worked for what I needed. I had no illusion about being fight ready after less than a week, but I was getting into a decent routine that would generate meaningful improvement eventually. I grabbed one of the jump ropes for a run up, along with a set of push up, squat, and crunches. I spent about 15 minutes practicing basic combinations from my introductory lessons before switching to the heavy bag. I pushed as far as I could, but there were hard limits I was still struggling with. Endurance from running didn't translate perfectly to this kind of workout. Eventually, I was catching my breath with a water bottle while half collapsed on one of the side benches. That was when I saw Doug wandering over from the main ring. The best way I could describe Doug was if someone took Mickey from the Rocky movies and scaled him up to about 6'5". The guy was pushing 60 now, but had apparently been an absolute terror in his youth. He had transitioned into coaching with all the grace of a rabid bull and would typically serenade the entire gym on deficiencies in your technique in a voice worthy of a drill sergeant. He was in something of a good mood when he approached me, apparently having shouted himself out during his earlier training session. "Joe, good to see you again. Too many young guys vanished after the first class." "Well, I took a sip from my water bottle. Don't want to embarrass myself next time I see Mr. LeBourne." He nodded at that. "That man knows his boxing. There's probably a good part of the though he's probably a good part of why guys vanish after their first class." The gym gave a free training session with sign up. Given how intense the coaches were, I think that was a strategy to weed out anyone who wasn't serious about this kind of thing. Doug was a good example of that, but Mr. LeBourne was on a whole other level. "You around tonight?" "Nah, doing something with his kids. You looking for a practice round?" I emphatically shook my head. I've been close to ready for that. "Stick with it and you'll get there," he nodded contemplatively. "We don't get too many guys from the college down here. You're in engineering, right?" I suppressed a wince. I danced around my enrollment status when I filled out my application. Dropping out of college hadn't been a smooth process, and until recently I still had some hope of finishing my degree. That was gone now. Was engineering. College didn't work out for me. "Sorry to hear that, kid. What happened?" No one would ever excuse Doug of having an excess of tact. That said, there was something about the guy that made him easy to talk to. There was a decent chance that no matter what I said, he would tell me to suck it up and head back to school, but that was just his nature. There wasn't real malice behind it. He also wasn't going to let this go without some kind of an answer. A bunch of stuff. It looked better from the outside. Like it's supposed to be a fresh start where everything's different, but you run into the same problems as the rest of your life. He snorted. "Problems never go away. They're a part of life. You just have to pick the window dressing." That brought a weak grin to my face. I guess things just kind of fell apart for me. Can't really name a single thing that set it off. Was it a girl? What? With guys your age, it's usually a girl. But there's a girl somewhere in the equation. That what happened? No. Doug's expression said he didn't believe it. I let out a slow breath. Okay, I had a pretty bad relationship that fell apart spectacularly, but I didn't drop out over that. It's never only a girl, but I've seen dozens of guys your age try to get their lives together. There's always a girl in there somewhere, or a guy, but they're usually quieter about that. I nodded. College had a certain social mentality that didn't exactly mesh with having superpowered neo-Nazis running around. Brockton's solution seemed to be dressing up everything with just enough deniability to avoid attracting attention. Doug was looking at me expectantly. I glanced around. No one was that close to us, and his students were savoring the brief respite from his tutelage as a chance to catch their breath and desperately rehydrate. I hated talking about this. It wasn't just the entire relationship was crap cringeworthy in retrospect. What really got me was everyone looking at it and assuming that was where everything went wrong. They thought the rest of my life was fine and I would just let it all fall apart over some girl. Still, Doug was legendarily bullheaded, but not known for making snap judgments. So I was in the engineering program. It was pretty small, like 25 people. Mostly us guys, just 3 girls and our years. So he went after one of them. Not at first, he gave me a look. Okay, there was this girl who transferred from math to engineering in sophomore year. Really, what was her name? Saba. Doug raised an eyebrow. She was Iraqi, really good at math, but her English wasn't perfect. They gave her some trouble with some parts of coursework. I helped out with that. And one thing led to another? Not exactly. We spent a lot of time together, but it never really went further. I suggested stuff, but she was always really demure about it, like a whole bunch of non-answers and putting things off. That was probably a hint. That stung. Yeah, I got that in hindsight. So what happened? It wasn't going well, but one of my friends convinced me to give it another try. Just ask directly and put it behind me. Not bad advice. I actually flinched at that. So I tried it and it went bad. She tore into me and we had words. It was public and messy, and I figured that was it. I nodded. I'm guessing there was more than that. I nodded. I tried to avoid her after that, but 6 weeks later she comes to me, apologizes, and said she had a bad day and wants to work together again. I tried to go back to the way. So what did you? I tried to go back to the way things were. It was really awkward, and she ended up transferring to the fashion program pretty soon after. Seriously? I shrugged. Everyone was surprised. She didn't talk to anyone about it. She just left. I found out later she had lost her dad to a heart attack. I guess it's the kind of thing that makes you reevaluate stuff. Doug nodded grimly. Look, it was a mess, but that's not why I dropped out. Not saying it is, but that kind of thing usually contributes. He looked around the gym. I'm not going to give you some bullshit speech about how boxing is like life and how what you learn here will carry you through. Boxing is boxing and life is life. The only thing they have in common is they're both hard, painful, and take a lot of work. College might not have worked for you, but you're a bright kid and you're willing to put in the hours. You'll be fine. Thanks. I appreciate that. Don't let it go to your head. Now I've got to get back to those slackers before they think this is some kind of holiday. That's where I'm going to have to end off. My eyes are burning, and I can't talk more than this. But hey, I made it just about 8.5 minutes this time. So, thank you for listening.